Mamdani is an avowed socialist. It's not what people say that he is, it's what he says that he is. He's now the leader of their party. That's their energy.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to yesterday's news channel, where we watch CNN so you don't have to. Scott Jennings was all over CNN last night for election coverage. First on The Source with Kaitlan Collins, then later on the network's main election night panel with Anderson Cooper and Van Jones. To no one's surprise, both shows were celebrating Democrat victories in New York, New Jersey, and Virginia, and pretending these results were some kind of national momentum shift. But as usual, Scott Jennings was the only one on the set reminding them what those wins actually mean. That nothing about this was surprising, but Democrats now own the results of the candidates they just elevated. Anyway, let's watch Scott Jennings shred Van Jones and the rest of CNN for pretending these results are something to celebrate. Let's go.
And Scott, I want to start with you because the Vice President, J.D. Vance, was at that breakfast today where Trump told Senate Republicans basically they needed to have a conversation. And he later said that he believed it was idiotic to overreact to the elections. He did say, we have to do better at turning out voters than we have in the past. And Vice President Vance said, we're going to keep on working to make a decent life affordable in this country. And that is the metric by which we'll ultimately be judged in 2026 and beyond. And he called Republican infighting stupid. Scott Jennings, what advice would you give to your party a year out from the midterms?
Well, first of all, I think J.D. Vance is exactly right. They do have to talk about cost of living. They do have to talk about affordability. And he's right that voters will ultimately judge the party in power, the incumbent party, based on the health of the economy, macro and micro. People have to feel like you're on the right trajectory. So I think he's right about that. I think he's right that Republicans are better off to dump the infighting and focus on issues and what we need to do to succeed. And he's certainly correct about this turnout issue. We still have an unproven situation out there about a lot of people who love Donald Trump but don't yet love to turn out when he's not on the ballot. So all these things are correct, and I agree with him. It's, you don't want to run around like chickens with your head cut off when something bad happens, but at the same time, you do want to learn from situations, and I think there's probably some things to be learned last night about candidate quality and the way we're running campaigns in certain places. But we have to remember, these are blue states, very blue states. Democrats won in blue states, and so overreacting and being overly emotional is probably not a great thing today.
Okay, David, that's Scott Jennings' take. I want you to listen to what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say about how she viewed what played out yesterday.
I believe the election yesterday was a referendum on not delivering what November 2024 was about. It was about America first. It was about MAHA, and it was about cost of living and putting Americans' issues above everything else. And that has not been the focus for months now.
What do you make of that, David?
Well, I'm in the kind of astonishing position of saying I agree with every word that Marjorie Taylor Greene said. I've never said those words here. We're making news right here on your show, Kaitlan. But that's absolutely the case. That's what happened. The fact is the president got elected in the main because people were very unhappy with the economy, and it hasn't changed for the better.
To just make everyone clear on how much they're worried about Democrats taking back the House in the midterms or what that could look like, one White House staffer told me once it's the end of the presidency if that happens. I mean, those are the stakes of the midterm elections because they understand from previous experience how much it changes what being in the White House is like to have Democrats in power on Capitol Hill.
Well, look, I think one thing is true. The president has spent a lot of his first year on solving conflicts around the world. I mean, he's had great success at it. We just got the hostages back in Israel, but he's been overseas a lot. He's been working on those issues a lot. If I were in their shoes, my advice would be, okay, what can we do now? Keep the president at home and also put him in the settings where, how do the American people know Donald Trump? They know him as a businessman, and that's one of the reasons they trusted him with the office twice, because they believe in his ability to work on the economy and make it work for them. So I would be looking for ways to keep him at home and keep him visible in those settings, and also just get him talking about what people are feeling and what he's doing about it. I do think they have a story to tell on a few issues, and they'll have a bigger story to tell. They may want to try another reconciliation bill and maybe more tax relief, some other things coming up, but getting the president front and center on domestic issues, if he has half as much success on that as he has had on the international stage, he could have a really good 2026.
So you heard what Marjorie Taylor Greene said right there, about this being a referendum that the Republicans haven't delivered on what they said they would. I understand where she's coming from, and I think probably in her eyes, that's how she thinks she's best representing her constituents. I just don't know if that's the way I'd go about it. Then David Axelrod said 54% of Americans think the country's moving in the wrong direction. And honestly, if it's a legitimate poll, I don't blame people for feeling that way. Look, after years of cultural and economic chaos, that number actually makes sense. We've spent decades under a Democrat ideology that promotes moral relativism, the do whatever makes you happy culture, and a political class that traded principles for personal pleasure. That mess didn't start with Trump. It took generations before him to build. He's been the first leader in years to turn into the storm and say, let's fix this. At least the wheel's finally turning the other way. You see, what we can't forget is the fight wasn't over when Trump got elected. It just gave us a chance to start the turn. So I'm assuming Republicans are complacent right now because they seem to have plenty of time to go after one another. If they think Trump's victory means we can take our foot off the gas, we will lose the momentum to actually fix what's broken. Democrats may look like fools and clowns on TV, but they are effing ruthless when it comes to power. They will lie, smear, they will crawl through glass if that's what it takes to win.
Scott, do you think the White House should be listening?
Look, these are blue states, and Democrats were supposed to win. So I wouldn't overread it. Virginia, in particular, has never been a great bellwether. I don't think a lot of folks had a lot of confidence in the Virginia campaign that was run on the Republican side. And New Jersey is New Jersey. So I would hesitate to overread it. I don't think the concerns you raised are illegitimate political strategy concerns. I think I just want to offer condolences to Chuck Schumer. Honestly, what I'm reading here in New York City is that AOC is going to be the next senator from New York after she gets done whooping his rear end in the 2028 Democratic primary. And for his Senate races in 2026, I see the energy in the Democratic Party tonight behind a socialist, and I see the energy in Virginia, Democrats looking the other way on a violent candidate for Attorney General who says he wants to murder Republicans and their children. If you think you're getting rid of Graham Plattner in Maine now, think again. This is a terrible night for national Democratic image, given what is happening inside their party. Mamdani is an avowed socialist. It's not what people say that he is, it's what he says that he is. He's now the leader of their party. That's their energy, and Chuck Schumer's
He's the leader of the Democratic Party?
Let's swear.
There is no. Who is the leader? Can someone tell me?
He's a life raft for Republicans who have to go on TV and get their asses kicked today.
You own this now. You all own this now.
We've had progressive mayors. I don't think anybody thought that de Blasio.
He's the best actor you all have, is he not?
Listen,
Mamdani.
Here's what I'll say. I'm a lot happier than you are sad. You're saying I'm happy. You know why? Buyer's remorse from independents. Independents gave Donald Trump a shot. Buyer's remorse. The Latin community gave him a shot. You see buyer's remorse. Black men gave Trump a shot. They've come back home. Buyer's remorse. Why? Because people are sick of the status quo. That's why they voted for Trump the first time. That's why they voted him out the second time. That's why they voted him back in. People want change. And Donald Trump said he was going to do something about grocery prices. He's done everything, but he's putting in gold toilets in the White House. He's tearing up. He's gallivanting around the world. And you're seeing buyer's remorse in places where Republicans had some hope.
Well, you just heard it there, and you saw it on the thumbnail twice. Scott's line should be playing on a loop today. You all own this now. Democrats in New York just elected a socialist to be their mayor, and CNN calls it historic. Fine. Then own what comes next. The tax exodus, the crime spikes, the businesses packing their bags. That's not pessimism, it's pattern recognition. Every time in history's voters try the socialist experiment, it ends with real people hurting. And the reason I'm so focused on you own this now is that everyone you heard speak on there, with the exception of Scott Jennings, when this inevitably fails in unmitigated disaster, all of these people will pretend like this night never happened and they weren't cheering for this. So I think what Scott's saying is no rewriting history this time. You get to do it all the time. You wanted this, you got it. And the stupidest take of the night, without a doubt, was Van Jones saying that these Democrat wins show buyer's remorse. Buyer's remorse? How does winning in Democrat strongholds like New York, New Jersey, and Virginia signal that? Isn't this exactly what everyone expected? I'd imagine a significant number of you are registered as independents. So Van Jones is talking to you. He says you have buyer's remorse. Is he right? Because I hear that phrase once a week on CNN from some liberal analysts, but you know what I don't hear? An actual Trump voter saying, man, I really messed up that last election. Can you imagine how great things would be if Kamala was in office? Van's engaging in wishful thinking. The only real remorse out there will be from Democrats waking up to the consequences of what they voted for. But it should be a reminder to us, better put, a warning. We have to stay vigilant. We have to keep speaking up. We can't assume wins like these can't spread if we go quiet. Look, CNN's pushed this, they've defended it, and now they own it. If you want to see this same dynamic play out over and over, then click on one of the videos that's about to pop up on your screen. But what do you guys think? Are the Democrat wins a sign of strength for their side, or are they the beginning of an inevitable collapse? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's it for this video. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to watch my video. If you all didn't watch, I wouldn't get to do this thing I love, so I'm always mindful of that. Thank you. Otherwise, always put God first. I'll see you guys tomorrow. What are you still doing here? Click the next video.